Hey guys, just a few things before the video starts, and if you don't want to hear my yap session, I'll put a chapter, just skip this part if you want. But I'm doing a giveaway of 500 subscribers. I know it's far away, but if like literally 1/3 of you guys subscribe or less, we'll reach it in like literally a day. So, you know, subscribe I guess. The giveaway will include a Crypt Blade, a Grand Siduriska, and a Lights Funnel. I'll probably add more stuff along the way because I just made a PvE build. And yeah. I forget what else was. Oh right, so if you guys could leave me some like video ideas, because I'm mostly making build showcases, but I've ran out of builds to make. And this is the last tier list that I can make. Well, I can make some other ones, but I want to kind of like expand my content, so if you guys could give me some just suggestions, that'd be much appreciated. So, without further delay, let's get into it. Welcome to the SHADOWCAST tier list. This will be ranked on a PvP scale, so there won't be any regard to PvE. And yeah, so let's get onto the first one. Dark Blade. So, Dark Blade, it has some use, it has really low investment, so I know some people with no medium like to use it. Sorry, not no medium, no attunement. Now, I don't really see a purpose in it. It steals Ether pretty well, but I'm gonna put in C tier for now. Devour an Eye. Devour an Eye used to be decent, but it's not good. Because, literally all it does is it will, like, people just break it basically. So there's not even a point in using it at all, so it's gotta go into D tier. Clutching Shadow. Now, Clutching Shadow used to have a lot more use when it went through block, but now that they fixed that, it's pretty useless. Because most people know how to parry it, and you can just block it. It does hardly any like posture damage. It is okay for combos sometimes, but there's way better options. D tier. Shadowgun. Now, Shadowgun is really good whether you're using it base form or there's like Blast Spark form. Blast Spark does a lot of damage and it's really good for roll catching. Same with single target, but it block breaks. It steals a ton of ether, gives you a ton of ether, and does a lot of bullets. It's gonna be our first S tier. It's a really well-rounded mantra, and there's a reason so many people run it on dual attunement builds. It's just amazing. Shadow Chains. Now, Shadow Chains did just get buffed, and it's a lot better. Steals a lot of ether, and it's good for keeping your opponent in place. They're kind of unpredictable, and when you feint them, they kind of like mask itself. So I'm gonna put in like low A tier, I want to say. It might be B tier. Somebody might, like, more experienced with Shadow might correct me on that. Shadow Eruption. Shadow Eruption has a lot of competitive use from what I've seen. I know people like Flagem like to use it. Now, in my opinion, it's really good because you can get people's parries stun off pretty easily with it. You can feint it and it I like masks it because I'm pretty sure it still comes out. It's just really good. I'm gonna put it in top of A tier for now. It's not really S tier, but it's super good. Shadow Seekers. Now, Shadow Seekers, if you're gonna Shees build, you can make it kind of work, but an experienced player will just run away pretty much, or just deal with it. There's not really a purpose to using it, and you can't really, I don't think you can use any mantras while it's active. So for that, it's gonna bottom C tier right now. Honestly, it might be D tier. Shadow Roar. Shadow Roar is really good because of how they made it. They removed its auto parry frames, and it's just like its AoE and how much bloodless you get off of it is absolutely crazy. And I don't think its damage is that bad either. So for that, probably top of A tier. It honestly might be low S. Rising Shadow. Now, Rising Shadow did just get nerfed because they fixed it, but it is still really good. It doesn't do damage obviously, but for combos it's almost necessary, and it's pretty much a must-have for every Shadow build. I'd say it's probably a bit below Shadow Roar though, although I definitely think more people use it than people use Shadow War. Shadow Meteors. No, Shadow Meteors are really good for boss raiding and other stuff because the bloodless healing is absolutely ridiculous. But in a Shime setting or just in like 1v1s in general, it's kind of useless in my opinion. You also can't use any mantras while you have it active, and it's pretty easy to dodge. But I think it earns B tier. Shadebringer. Now, Shadebringer is pretty good. It has had a really rough history of going from pretty mediocre when it first dropped, and then it applied Knockdown, which was its peak. It was so broken that they removed it like I think a week or two later. And then it fell off after that, and then it saw a lot of use as one of the best Shadow mantras. Now it's just kind of mediocre again. I'm gonna put it in B tier, but it could definitely be low A tier. Shadow Vortex. Shadow Vortex, it depends on how you use it. You kind of need a build centered around it to make it work, but if you can get it to land, it is really good. Now, it works best with like Crypt Blade and other things, like if you have Spark Swapped, it's crazy, but you can't use Spark Swap in Shrine. I'm gonna put it in like the middle of B tier, although depending on your build, you can definitely move it up. Eclipse Kick. Now, they did just nerf Daze, so honestly, the multiplying spark on it, the entire reason is that it makes your opponent have to parry it, but they don't even have to parry it anymore. That being said, it is still really good. The damage output is crazy, and you don't even need to do the follow-up attack, it just applies parry stun. I'm gonna put it in bottom A tier. Actually no, above Shadow Chains. Maybe we can actually move Shadow Chains down to top of B tier actually too. Shade Devourer. Now, Shade Devourer is honestly really bad. The trade-off for the extra damage that you're doing is horrible. You might as well just go Taunt. And, I mean, the only way you can make it work, kind of, is if you go Canor, but I don't know if they nerfed that. But even with Canor, it still does way too much damage. I'm gonna say it's honestly below Devour and Eye, because it just has absolute, like, negative use. Like, you're damaging yourself by using it. Shade Wisp. Now, Shade Wisp is one of the best wisps in the game. I'd say it's just below Flame Wisp, because it gives you extra tempo and it blinds your opponents. It's all around really good, and a lot of people on dual tournament builds, even if they can get like Flame Wisp for example, just go it because of how good it is. So I'm gonna put it in bottom of S tier. Encircle. Encircle, now I never thought that was good, but I've seen people use it and it's actually pretty ridiculous. In the Sheaths builds that happen like today, and like just builds in general, Encircle counters them pretty hard and is really good for combos. And honestly, I want to say it's top of A tier. Now last is Shadow Assault. Shadow Assault, it's honestly had one of the most consistent uses out of any SHADOWCAST mantra besides maybe Shadowgun, and it still holds up really well today. So it's gonna earn a solid like middle A tier. So that's the end of the list. Hope you guys enjoyed, and please take note that I do not play Shadow, so take this with a grain of salt. My last Shadow build wiped because I blue screened, and it wasn't even a PvP build, it was a PvE build, which was 200 years old, so that's why I was Shadow. But anyway, yeah, so subscribe so we can get to the giveaway, and I'll see you guys.